All right, so we're gonna walk through how to use my meta tag idea generator. So the idea behind this tool is a couple things. One, when you're thinking about title tags and meta descriptions, for me, it's not enough just to be able to come up with one title tag idea or one meta description idea. I think what's a better scenario is if you had multiple ideas for a page. In the case of this tool, excuse me, it's going to generate 10 ideas per page. And with those 10 ideas, you can quickly iterate on tests. So you can do one combination of title tag and meta description and then test that out, see if it improves click-through rate, see if it improves rankings. If it doesn't, you can try the next one. If that one doesn't, you can try the next one. If that one does improve rankings or click-through rate, the next one does, then the next one you can benchmark that against the new one, right? So continually being able to improve and iterate on title tag and meta description combinations. So it sort of sets up like a roadmap for each page of like what title tags should we test. The other thing that this tool does is, along with giving you those ideas, it actually pulls in the top keywords, or excuse me, the top URLs for page one for your target keyword. It pulls in the current displayed title tag and meta description inside the SERP. And then so it takes those 10 title tags and those 10 meta descriptions that's on page one, and then based on your ideas, picks out the one that it thinks is going to be the one that stands out the most. When we talk about like how do we get to a page one ranking, obviously you got to get the content right. But the other thing is, we got to make sure that we have a page that sort of brings some unique value to page one. And I think one of the ways that we do that is with our title tag and meta description. Can we have a SERP snippet that stands out amongst the rest? That's the sort of second part of this tool, is it identifies out of those 10 title tag ideas, what's the one that it thinks is going to be the one that stands out amongst the current ranking URLs. So it has those two processes, and then you can do that at scale. So, I think for me, the max that I've done so far is about 50 at a time. So if you do put in 50 URLs, you can get out essentially 500 title tag ideas, and then 50 of the sort of recommended title tags. So first thing here is I'm going to go through just the setup process. So you're going to make a copy of this tool. So you go to File and then make a copy. Make sure that you're using a Google Workspace account, not a normal Gmail account. It will work with a normal Gmail account, but Google Workspace has increased limits for how long you can run scripts. So I said I can run at max. I've run about max about 50. If you're using a normal Gmail account, you may only be able to run like 10 at a time, which is still quite a bit of a productivity improvement, but just know that. The tool uses three APIs. So I'm using Claude large language model. I'm using Claude instead of Chat GPT because I just found for writing, Claude is just a much better writer. And so in terms of like voice and tone, so I stuck to Claude on this. Is using Claude 3.5 Sonnet, so the latest version. So you're going to enter your Claude API key. The other API I'm using is Jina.ai. And this one allows me to scrape off for every URL the body text off of that page. So I found that this is the best sort of body text scraper. Other ones that I've found scrape probably too much. The other thing I like about Jenna is that it scrapes it and puts it into Markdown. So that way Claude can easily see what's text versus what's a heading versus what's a link versus what's an image, right? It sort of breaks that out in a digestible way. So you'll need to get an API for that, API key for that, and place that in here. And then the third API that I'm using is Data for SEO, dataforseo.com. So Data for SEO allows me to pull in the top 10 ranking URLs and then the title tags and meta descriptions for those pages. And again, this is the SERP displayed title and meta, not the actual title and meta description. So you'll need to put in credentials for that. For all three of those, I have instruction documents on how to get those credentials. All of them are pretty cheap. In fact, the Jina.ai and Data for SEO gives you some free credits. The Jina.ai free credits is pretty generous. So you should be able to do quite a bit with that. And then Data for SEO gets you some as well. But even if you set up billing accounts, super cheap for all of them. So I would say for a run of 50, it maybe cost me, I don't know, 25 cents total to run all of those. So super cheap. Awesome. So once you get those put in there, you'll need to authorize the scripts. This is just Google's authorization process when you start running scripts on your Google Sheet. It's going to come up and ask for you to select your account. Make sure again you select that Workspace account, not your normal Gmail account. And then the other thing is it's going to come up and say Google hasn't verified this app, and you'll have to go through a process to allow that permission. Again, it's because I haven't sent this to be verified through Google because it's just my own personal tool. You can see all the scripts that I built if you go to extensions and then app script. And so you can actually see the full code that's actually happening here, the API calls and all the code that's happening in the background. So you just need to allow it, run that authorization that allows all the scripts to run. And then the next step in the setup process, you'll need to generate a document template. So when you click on this button here, it's going to generate a template document. Now, this template document that it generates is actually pretty customizable. The way that it works is I have text and I have placeholders. The placeholders are inside of brackets. The placeholders correspond to the headings here in this tool sheet. This is where sort of all the work is done. So target keyword here corresponds to this target keyword here. Current title tag, that heading is also used as a variable in the template. So you can actually organize this however you want to organize it. This is just a basic organization, but if you want to add some more detail or whatever, you can feel free to, or change the way, change the text on the document that's generated. You can do that. So. Awesome. So with that setup process, everything should be ready to go. I want to go through sort of the prompting process. So this is just like, we would go into Claude or ChatGPT and send a prompt. It just does it at scale. So I want to go through the prompts, and there's two prompts. There's one prompt to generate the meta tag ideas, title tag and meta description ideas. And then there's another prompt to generate what it thinks should be that sort of recommended tag that you should test out first. So we'll go through that first prompt. The first prompt, both of the prompts have three sections: task details, a main request section, and then a rules section. So task details is sort of like the background context. So you can see I give it the background context of here's a keyword that I'm targeting, here's a title tag, here's a body text, here's a page type. And the way that this works is this drop down corresponds to the column. So I could say something like, I could change up the way I wanted to present this page type or something like that, but this all corresponds to the column. From here, I then give it the main request. What's the main thing I'm going to ask it to do? The main thing I'm going to ask it to do is to generate 10 variations of title tags and meta descriptions. That's sort of the main request. The rules section is where the magic happens. So this has all the rules that I have. The first thing along with this is, again, I wanted to generate 10 ideas, but I wanted to generate 10 specific types of ideas. I didn't want it to generate just random ideas. The specific ideas are related to like the different types of ways you can hook an audience. So specificity, emotion, credibility, intrigue is the fourth one. Excuse me. Keeping it clear and concise. So conciseness, tailoring it to an audience, call to action, unique value, storytelling, and solving a problem. So those are the 10 sort of frameworks, the 10 sort of structures that I give it. I give it sort of a principle that goes along with each structure. And then I give it examples of a title tag that fits that structure. So that's the way I have it generate 10. It isn't just 10 title tags and meta descriptions. It's 10 specific types of title tags and meta descriptions that will potentially hook an audience. From there, I give it a structure on what the output should be like. So it shouldn't give any extra stuff like, here are the 10 title tags and meta. This should just be just the title tags and meta descriptions. And then I give it a ton of guidelines. So I give it some guidelines around character limits. Note that, things like I have it say under 50 characters. Obviously, the standard for title tags is 55 to 60 characters, but LLMs like Claude and ChatGPT can't really count characters. So I give it, so it tends to overinflate its character count. If I said keep it under 60 characters, it would actually give me 70 or 80 characters. So I put it at 50 just to make sure it fits the actual window. Same thing for meta descriptions. Try to put it a little bit less. I then break down more details, excuse me, around title tags for blog posts and landing pages. So for blog posts, I give it some title tag information there. I tell it to match the tone of the original title, limit the character length. The one thing I try to say is don't think of this as a rewrite, right? Don't try to sort of completely reinvent the wheel, because there are going to be some key phrases that sort of we want to make sure we point to in the title tag. For example, if the title tag is how to create an image alt tag, I want the sort of basic structure to be around like how to, right? I don't want it to say image alt tags. What are they, right? That's a different intent. So I try to tell it to sort of reorganize to fit the 10 structures. I tell it to end with a brand. And then for landing pages, I give it, tell it to highlight the primary benefit or unique selling proposition, include the brand name, maintain a tone. I tell it to not include features or benefits in the title tag that are not mentioned in the body text. So it needs to look at that body text and reference it and say, okay, if I had say SEO tool that I'm writing about, the homepage for an SEO tool, and that homepage doesn't talk about image alt tags, I can't put image alt tags in a title tag or the meta description. And then from there, I go to some meta description structure, content accuracy. I make sure that says don't do anything in the title tag and the meta description that's not in the body text. I give it more information about the meta description, and then I give it a bunch of examples. So this whole entire prompt is being sent over to to Claude. Apologize. I even give it some examples of poor meta descriptions, get title tags, poor title tags. But again, this whole thing is being sent over to Claude every single time, along with the body text, along with the current title tag and meta description, right? So it has just like a ton of context that's being sent over every single time. So that's how I was generating the meta tag ideas. And then the next one here, the recommended meta tags, for that one, gives the same sort of context. I give it the main request, review the meta tag ideas, pick the one title tag and meta description combo that would stand out. So this time I'm giving it everything, but I'm also giving it the current ideas that I created. And then I'm also giving it, you can see here, the current title tags and meta descriptions that are found on page 1. So again, I'm providing that additional context. So it's looking at that, it's looking at the ideas I generated, and then it's trying to pick out which one it thinks is going to be the best one out of those ideas. And then I give it some context. It should be clearly original and unique. Avoid positioning your page similar to existing page 1 results. We want to differentiate our positioning. I talk about the idea of like helpful content, and that it's content that offers insightful analysis beyond the obvious. And in this context, I say the obvious is what's already ranking on page 1. So I say like, hey, we want to provide something that's different from already ranking on page 1. And then I provide some more information there. So that is the 2 prompts. Now we'll go through the process of actually how to build this. So I actually have an example here that I started. I found a site. This is just on Product Hunt. This was one of this week's Product Hunt's top products, Nudge, nudgenow.com. They're a UX service, SaaS, and they have a glossary section. So this glossary section, this is pretty common on most popular SaaS websites, where they go through sort of their common terms and define them in their own way. And so they have a bunch of these pages. I picked off about 6 of them. You can see here, like the title tag just shows active user, just shows the term itself. I don't think these pages have meta descriptions as well. So definitely could use some title tag and meta description optimizations to get this thing ranking. So I picked off about 6 pages here. For each page, I set the target keyword and then the page type. Page type could be, in this case, I put it as glossary page, but it could be blog post or landing page. Those are normally the two that I select. If you want to get a little bit deeper, if you're an e-commerce site, maybe it's product page or a collection page, or e-commerce collection page. But you want to just define what the page type is because that's get used in the prompt. So you're going to manually define these 3 things, and then these next things are going to be the rest of this data is going to be data that we're going to get from the API. So I've already put in my API information. I actually need to authorize a script, so I'm going to go through this authorization process here. I'm going to hit click me. Actually, I must have already authorized it. Oh, actually, because it's under my account, so I didn't have to go through the full prompting process. And then I also already have a document template in here, but you would need to create that too. So got my API keys. I've authorized the script. I got my template document in here. So now I can get to work. So I sort of color coordinated this. This is all like 3 steps. Step 1 is collecting data about the page. So you're going to manually put in these 3 things. You're going to grab body text, grab the current title tag, grab the current meta description. Step 2 is generating meta tag ideas. Step 3 is generating those recommended title tags. So at the top here, I have actually a custom menu called steps. And so it should be broken off into that structure. So if we go to steps, step 1 is get page data. And then this first step here, get body text from Jina.ai. So I'll click on that. So it should go through and then pull in the body text for each one. So you can see how it looks here. It actually pulls it down, like I said, in Markdown. So you can see like these images here. This one does pull in, looks like some navigation, but that's okay. I found it still does a pretty good job. And then you can see here all the text that's in Markdown. So like this right, active users matter is a heading. Looks like an H3 heading that's bolded, right? So that gives it some context. When they're all done, when all the scripts are done, you're going to get this complete prompt. So you just press OK, and that ends the script. So we got body text for all the URLs. Next thing we need to do is get current title tags. So I'll go to steps, generate page data, get title tags. All right, that's done. Next, we need to get the meta description, and this will be the last step in this get page data step. So get meta descriptions. And you can see here, so title tag, like I said, is just the term of the page, of the term itself, right? So that's not very optimized, and then they don't have any meta descriptions. So we can't work with anything there. Awesome. So now the next step is we're going to generate meta tag ideas. So now it's going to start running through this meta tag ideas prompt for each one of them and do that. This one's going to be a little bit longer process. Just going to Claude, sending the prompt to Claude with all the context, and then having it come back. It's a little bit of a longer process. So this will be a little bit slower. It takes normally about 15, 20 seconds per row. If you see it hang up, it's typically okay. Claude still has some issues with like handling complex prompts, and so sometimes it gets overloaded. I have a sort of error check built into this script that if it gets that overloaded error, it just waits 10 seconds and then reruns. So like I said, if you see it to where it's like, man, it doesn't seem like anything's happening, as long as you still see this running script, something is happening. It may just be sort of waiting for a bit before it runs the next one. But you can see how slow it gets. It gets about 15, 20 seconds for each one. But for each one, it's pulling in, so it pulls in, I have it generate the primary question because I want it to have that context. Like this is what we're trying to answer. And so part of the prompt is saying, hey, for every title tag, make sure it directly relates to this primary question that the user is trying to answer. And then I have it define the page type, the current title tag, active user, and then I go through those 10 structures that I gave it. So for this first one, clarity and specificity, it says what is the active user definition and importance. For the next one, quantifiable metrics, what is an active user, three key metrics explained. And that one is super interesting because if you actually look at that page, there are three metrics that it's explaining. So again, it's looking at the body text of the page to determine what the title tag should be. It's not just randomly creating title tags for the sake of creating title tags. And indeed, it's talking about these three metrics on that page. So really like this process. It's really dialed in. It's not going to be 100% perfect, but I really like the process. And for sure, you can always tweak that prompt however you see fit. If you feel like it's just not there. The reason I love building these tools inside of Google Sheets is it gives you full access to be able to make any tweaks. So that's all done. Got all the ideas there. Next one. So that's that step. That's that step. Excuse me. The next step is to generate the recommended title tag. So again, here I'm now looking at page one, seeing what the current meta tags are, and then I'm going to have AI recommend what it should pick as the sort of first title tag to test out of my meta tag ideas. So we'll go to steps, generate meta tag recommendations, and then get ranking meta tags. So now we're using the data for SEO API to do that. So it's going to go through, it's going to find page one for all of the target keywords. It's going to get the top 10 URLs, and then it's going to get the title, the SERP displayed title tags and meta descriptions for those URLs, and then put them in here. So you can see that's what this is. So it shows result 1, result 2, result 3, result 4. And then, you can actually see this a little bit more granularly in this ranking URL sheet. It actually pulls in the actual URLs. You can see the SERP display title, SERP display meta description. Awesome. And then the last step to build out this tool sheet is to generate the recommended meta text. Like I said, it's going to sort of do this comparison on these two columns, meta tag ideas, current page one meta tags. So I'll go to steps, meta tag recommendations, get recommended meta tags. Again, I'm using Claude for this. Now we're doing some AI work here. Also, you can see here, I get this little pop-up that says processing, and this script status tab sort of shows what's being worked on. So like if any errors or anything like that happen, they should show up in here. You can sort of see the status. So if you're wondering also as well, what's it working on? I can see it's working. It's got done with row 6. It's got to work on row 7 right now. And then now it's finished. Awesome. So the result of this, it gives me a recommended title tag and a recommended meta description. So for this one, it says, hey, to stand out, we don't want to just do what is an active user pipe brand, right? We want to do something like what is an active user data-driven engagement insights, right? That would actually stand out probably compared to the other ones. So for this one here, what is average order value? 7 strategies to increase average order value, right? That's going to be much better than just a general, what is average order value definition, key strategies type of thing. Awesome. So now that we've got all of our recommended meta tags, we got our title tags idea, the last step is just to create that document, that sort of roadmap document. So for that, we'll just go to steps, generate doc, build recommendations doc. That's going to do its thing. When it's done, it's going to come up with a pop-up. So it comes up with a pop-up with the document URL. We can copy that from here. Hit OK. It also, I actually put it just in case you forget to copy it before you hit OK. If you go to this generated doc URL, it'll be in here as well. But now we can click on that. It gives it the document name of meta tag optimizations and then today's current date. And then it builds this document out for you. So again, we've got sort of for these 6 pages, we've got sort of a roadmap for optimizing meta tags for all 6 pages. Again, we can do this up to 50 pages. And we can repeat this and do this for 300 pages if we wanted to. It gives me the URL, the target keyword, the current the current title tag, the meta description, which we didn't have any. And then it first gives me this recommended meta tag test. This is what it thinks the first one we should do. And then it gives us the other meta tag ideas. So based off clarity and specificity, we can test this. Based off of quantifiable metrics, we can test this. So this would be like more of, hey, this first title tag didn't work or wasn't as it didn't perform well. What's the next one? Maybe I'll look at the SERPs again manually see what I think would stand out and pick that one. And I just sort of go through the list, and I can sort of go through. I could even make this my roadmap document where I pick one, and then as I pick one, maybe I add a strike through on it just to say, hey, I worked on this one. I don't need to retest this one again. I know this one doesn't work, right? So that is the tool. Really have been enjoying using it. It's giving me a lot of time back. You know, a principle for me when I build tools like this is there's a few factors or a few principles that I want to keep in mind. And it's really the overarching principle of productivity, and the way that I would define productivity, or the way I've heard productivity defined, is A, can you do something faster? B, can you do something easier? And then C, can you do something better, right? So this isn't just me going through and saying with a one-line prompt of, here's my target keyword, write 10 title tags and meta descriptions, right? That would be faster. That would be easier. That likely wouldn't be better. Um, uh, I could do this all myself. That would not be faster. That would not be easier. It would be better, but that would be an intensive effort for me. This allows me to achieve those three standards at once, right? Faster, easier, better. So let me know if you have any questions. If you run into any bugs or anything like that, shoot me an email, hit me up on LinkedIn. Thanks.